born of frustration.
And when you feel slighted, when you feel like your educational system is not preparing you, where other students are getting a better shot than what you are, you can either plead the victim or you can try and do something about it.
20 years ago, charter schools promised revolution.
It brings innovation, it brings solution, and it brings new opportunities.
For better,
I can see myself going to college because I'm smart.
for worse.
It just makes no sense of all the schools and all the neighborhoods in the city. Why close this one down that's serving the kids that need it most?
Charters are here to stay. So what is working?
There are schools around the United States that are showing that kids, no matter what their circumstances, if given the right supports and conditions, can do as well as any other group of kids.
I feel delighted when.
Join us for a look at some exceptional public charter schools that exemplify the original promise to transform children's lives, to encourage innovation, to think outside the box.
Outside the Box is made possible through the support of the Eli Lilly and Company Foundation, dedicated to improving health and strengthening communities.
How do we recognize a school's greatness? Is it something you notice from the outside? Is it the neighborhood? Is it just a feeling? Maybe it's the sign out front, like this one at the Preuss School in San Diego, Newsweek's #1 transformative high school 2 years in a row.
800 students are at our school, and they're all low income. Their parents haven't graduated from college, and the mission is to prepare them for college.
Preuss is a public charter school. If greatness can be measured, the Preuss School boasts a 100% graduation rate. 100% of its students go to college.
Well, hopefully to Stanford. That's my dream school.
The true success of this school will be when these students go on and graduate from college, they go back to their communities, and they transform their communities.
The first charter schools opened in Minnesota in 1992.
They can really try new things. If they realize that their reading program isn't working, they can make that change swiftly. They can implement that in a way that's much easier and much more expedient than a large district that has many, many schools and many, many students.
Today, tax dollars in 41 states support over 5,000 public charter schools. In most states, like Indiana, only about 4% of students attend public charters. But in some parts of the country, the rates soar, 11.5% in Arizona, 44% in Washington, D.C. In New Orleans, 2/3 of all students are enrolled in charters, new since Katrina. Some are not-for-profits, some charters are in it for the money. So many schools, but so little quality research that actually tells us how charters are faring.
Parents are just bombarded with report after report about how this school's doing, how that school's doing.
Dr. Julian Betts is an economist at the University of California in San Diego.
We need to throw out about 3/4 of the studies out there because they don't meet even minimal criteria for research quality.
Most research doesn't account for the cultural backgrounds and academic histories of students.
Family income is one of the best predictors of achievement there is. And so if a school is operating in a less affluent area, you should expect test scores to be low. And that's the real danger here, that if you just take snapshots of student achievement at one point in time, you're not really capturing the quality.
Consider the snapshot data taken in 2001, in the very first weeks after the opening of the Crystal House Academy in Indianapolis.
Our ISTEP scores, which gave us the distinction of being the worst school in the state, and it's not a laughing matter, but upon reflection, I think, my goodness.
Not sure.
That was more than a decade ago.
You saw a cheetah?
Today, Crystal House Academy, named for its founder, boasts a combined passing rate of more than 90%.
We've surpassed the Indiana averages. We have significantly surpassed IPS's ISTEP score. We look at a very, very high retention of our students.
Win forever.
That indicates that the kids love coming to Crystal House. They love their school.
Crystal House Academy serves children in grades K through 12, and there's also a dropout recovery school for adults. 94% of the students here qualify for free and reduced priced meals. A third are ESL students, and more than 60% are minorities. What makes this school work?
The importance of a highly skilled principal and excellent teachers cannot be stated often enough.
Do you think you could try maybe together a voice?
It is the alpha and omega that ultimately sets a good school apart from a not good school.
Finding the right people is absolutely the most important thing we do.
You keep it the same? Okay.
It's not easy and it's really tricky, and sometimes you think you have the right people and you don't.
As a teacher here, our voices are heard, and we are definitely a strong part of how the school grows, and I guess very much a part of the vision and mission of the school.
Another factor to consider, the parents who choose charters for their children.
We end up with a lot of families who have had some experience in a traditional school that just didn't work for them for whatever reason.
When it came up charter schools, I was like, what is that? What is a charter school?
Anne Ring has 2 children at Crystal House. She also attends the Adult Academy here, working to complete her high school diploma in dual credit classes.
I'm gaining college credits as we speak, and I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Unlike a traditional district that maybe brings the parent in once a year, we ask them to come in 4 times a year, and you have to come in. If you don't come in, we kind of take this debt collector approach where we start hounding you and calling you. We have historically, about 98% of our families that show up for a parent-teacher conference every time, which is, for an inner-city school is unheard of.
Not surprising, Crystal House has a waiting list to get in. By law, public charter schools with waiting lists must conduct lotteries for open spaces. And it is lottery data that has become the gold standard for charter school research.
For social scientists, this is terrific because it means that on average, the only difference between the students who win the lottery and the students who lose the lottery is literally the roll of the dice. And these parents and these students were equally motivated to get into a school. Some get in and some don't. So in a lottery study, it really is pretty close to an experiment. You're studying students who were offered a slot at the school and those who were not.
Betts and his colleagues have reviewed 90 schools nationally, tracking data since 1999.
And we're finding on average that elementary schools, charter schools, do seem to outperform traditional public schools in both math and English language arts.
I depend upon.
On the whole, the middle school studies suggest that middle school charters are outperforming traditional public schools in math. At the high school levels, they seem to be performing about as well as other high schools. There is starting to emerge some evidence that students who attend charter schools do have better long-term outcomes in terms of chances of completing courses that you need to be eligible to attend college.
Successful charters are under pressure to replicate.
There are schools that are showing that all kids can excel, and we wanted to incubate those kinds of schools.
David Harris wants to help. He is the CEO of the Mind Trust, an Indianapolis-based education advocacy group that runs a charter school incubator.
We wanted to create a package that would attract talented people from all over the United States to compete for the opportunity to come to our community to launch great networks of schools.
Those packages, or awards, amount to $1 million each. Crystal House Academy is one recipient.
It's a wonderful feeling, and we are immensely proud, but also keenly aware of the responsibility.
We'll put it to a vote.
Earl Phelan's team also received Mind Trust incubator funds to open 10 charter schools in Indianapolis. Phelan's school board is meeting for the first time.
I'm Don Stinson. I'm retired superintendent of the Metropolitan School District of Decatur Township.
We were blown away by the caliber of the team that he put together, by the creativity of their thinking about how they were going to use a blended learning model approach to delivering education.
Phelan's school expands on the success of his nationally acclaimed Summer Advantage USA program.
Great schools need structure and rigor. Great schools need to expose children to a range of things beyond the 3 R's. They need all those things that stimulate their desire to learn, stimulate their bodies and their minds.
Phelan's schools target educationally disadvantaged children.
In 2025, the majority of children in school are going to be children of color, the only growing population in this country when you look at the kind of age demographics. So what are we going to do? Are we going to throw away all children of color? Are we going to throw away all English language learners? Or are we going to quickly find a way to educate children to realize their tremendous innate potential?
Can you reread it by yourself?
Children who have attended Summer Advantage programs often realize net gains of 2 to 5 months in 5 weeks.
At the end of the day, we're a no excuses organization. We expect that over 90% of our children will pass the reading, writing, and math components of the I-STEP, and that's compared to about 50% currently.
Incubator funds will help Phelan achieve success in the critical startup period. New research ties early success with long-term viability of schools.
Startup charter schools often have a heck of a time getting financing. No bank is going to loan to a school whose charter could be revoked at the end of the initial 5 years. And this has been a real problem.
It is extremely hard to open a new school, even under the best of circumstances.
Some ask, are there already too many charter schools?
Increasing charter opportunities isn't just a matter of increasing the number of schools. It's always about increasing the number of quality schools.
State laws often determine quality. Indiana's laws are ranked among the best in the country.
I think of the efficient use of taxpayer dollars, and I think of the academic achievement of our children. And frankly, I've been probably the loudest proponent of dealing with poor performing charter schools and financially insolvent charter schools.
So who's minding the charter school store?
You see all of these really ineffective, poor quality schools popping up, and not only does it hurt the kids in the building, but it hurts the charter school movement and initiative as a whole.
Beth Bray oversees authorizations for the Indianapolis Mayor's Office.
We started off the school year 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
At present, Indianapolis is the only municipality in the country that authorizes charter schools.
Hi, how are you?
Risky, yes, but 2 mayors now have managed to place the quality of charter schools above politics.
We look not just at academic performance or performance on state standardized tests. We also look at overall financial performance and financial health. We look at the overall school culture and whether the mission of the school is understood by all of the stakeholders. And so we really try to look from a very holistic sense at how schools are performing. I think what we've seen in other states where there isn't a high quality authorization system is that it almost becomes the Wild West of charter schools.
Ohio, Texas, and Arizona have all been branded that name because of weak laws and poor oversight.
We are the gatekeepers in that we ensure only the most talented, most effective groups who have the best, most reasonable plans are granted charter agreements and are able to enter the space and serve our kids. We're the guardrails in that for existing schools, we're not dictating what they need to do. We really ensure that they are making good on the promises of their charter agreement, that they're performing at a very high level, and that they are serving our community and our kids exceptionally well. Well, you keep reading, that's good. Closing schools is without question the most difficult part of my job and the most difficult part of what we do as authorizers.
Heartbreaking was a recent decision to close the Project Charter School 2 weeks before the start of classes.
I've never protested anything before, and I am out here holding signs.
We choose TPS!
The school was already struggling with poor academic performance.
Choose TPS.
But the trigger involved failed finances.
I don't know that simple answers work here. I really don't. You close our school and the kids that have failed in multiple IPS schools will go back and fail in more multiple IPS schools. And IPS schools will kick them out so that they're not hurting their scores. And in the meantime, there's a population of children who are lost. And that can't be the answer.
A school fair was held to help families find alternative placements.
Not even a lot of options.
There were no options. The options that they gave us is not going to fit our family.
He's already said he doesn't feel like that he'll fit in another school. He doesn't feel like he'll be welcomed. This is the first place where he's really loved school.
It most definitely was not our preference. It's not the way that we wanted to do things. You know, the school, unfortunately, was in a very alarming financial position. They were unable to fund their operating expenses, make payroll, etc., without relying on credit and debt to do so.
The most typical reason for closing the school down is financial problems, that the school is just running out of money. In very few occasions, it's something more sinister than that, actual financial malfeasance. But we do see districts in some occasions shutting down charter schools, not because of financial problems, but because student performance is not improving or is actually falling down.
There are certainly a lot of folks who lose when a school closes, and no one who wins.
Sadly, there can be a financial incentive to keep bad schools open.
You know, it's really the tale of two cities, in that you have the mayor's office that doesn't take an administrative fee versus another authorizer that does. So who has the greater financial incentive to keep schools open?
Ball State University takes a 3% administrative fee for authorizing charters. It has closed only one school, yet 3 of its charters are among the lowest performing in the state.
We have to be willing to make the hard decision and take the difficult path and close underperforming schools.
Ball State declined to participate in this documentary.
No one should have to grow up and feel that their educational system is slighting them.
Mike Kerr grew up in a rural area, in a failing school that did not prepare him for college.
I don't want our kids to have that experience growing up. They should have the best possible education, no matter where they grew up.
Against all odds, Kerr made it to Harvard to earn a master's degree in education. Today, he is the founder of the KIPP Empower Academy in South Central Los Angeles.
I want to build for them a school environment that is preparing them for the harsh realities of the future and for the amazing challenges that they're going to face, both collegiately and in the competitive world. I want better for our kids than what I received. KIPP stands for Knowledge is Power Program. KIPP Empower is getting national attention for some remarkable innovation.
Work hard! Be nice! Work hard! Be nice! Ready? Ready!
Kerr made a good choice. When faced with funding cuts, he developed a blended learning program to fill the gaps.
We didn't see it as a silver bullet, but it has ended up being a win-win situation for us where, yes, we did have to expand our class sizes from 20 to 28, which did help us financially, but at the same point, we were able to preserve the personalized learning experience for our kids.
Blended learning is the concept of using technology and computer-driven lessons. Some see it as a means to cut costs by the number of teachers. Kerr saw it as a tool.
We're seeing that it's not replacing teachers, but it's just enhancing their teaching of children.
Students spend about an hour a day at the computers, but it's the time spent in small groups with their teachers that may be making the difference.
Not just playing games, they're not playing Pac-Man, they're not playing solitaire, they're using math programs and reading programs that are responding to the answers they're giving and then tailoring their instruction on the computer from there.
The software uses adaptive technologies, so students review when necessary and advance when they're ready.
Here we're able to teach students at their level, and they're able to grow, not just meeting kids in the middle.
Teachers monitor progress to determine where students need help, and they tailor lessons accordingly.
Rather than teaching one reading lesson to 30 kids, I can teach 4 reading lessons to groups of 8 or 9 children, get them right where they are developmentally so that they're going to grow faster rather than if they're trying to get this one-size-fits-all lesson, which hasn't been effective.
And it's working. Over 94% of KIPP Empowers students scored at or above the national average in math and reading. And what's more, half were in the top quartile.
When you come to schools, they have computers to help you be smart, to help you be smarter, like to do math.
I've seen it happen every day at KIPP Empower. They come in and maybe they're not reading, and after a year, 2 years, they're reading. What an incredible thing, that you're actually sharing that knowledge, that skill of how to read. That's pretty powerful stuff.
Significant is the data that shows children denied access to cognitive preschool for the first time are able to catch up and excel academically. The challenge for incubators is replicating this work in other places.
Good job.
The KIPP model is getting a test run at Earl Phelan's Summer Advantage program. He wants to implement blended learning in his new incubator schools. Replicating innovation also involves finding the right people.
We have to make sure that we're finding folks who are in it to win it, who are coming to us because they believe in what our school's mission is, and they believe in what KIPP is all about, or they believe in what charter schools can do.
It's not taken lightly, and people are treated as though they're doing really important work because it is really important work.
It's important work for parents, too.
We expect our parents to be partners in this process, and we want to listen to them, and we want to hear what their hopes and dreams are for their students.
Okay, sweetie, take care.
At many public schools, in the school where I used to work, parents were not permitted inside the building. Not permitted inside the building at all.
Hopefully you had to make an appointment to see the teacher. Hopefully the teacher was available. The teacher was like, well, you're a child. They kind of belittled your children. Everything's a positive atmosphere here.
Here, too, college has become a possible dream.
We're so smart. We're going to college. We're going to college. I can see myself going to college because I'm smart and have a big brain up inside this head.
I see Shandi, like I said, being the next president. I do. I really do.
When Melody Moore lost her job and had to remove her daughter from classes, she was overwhelmed by what happened next.
And as I walked in and picked up a child, because I'm really close with one of the parents, and as I walked in, everybody was in tears because they saw me coming through. And they was like, where's Shandi? I said, well, I had to check her into another school. They was like, you know, why? I was like, because I don't come in this area anymore. And there's no need for me to come this way. So Mr. Kerr was like, well, what could I do to allow Shandi to come back to school? And I said, well, I need a job. If you can help me with a job, Shandi will be back. He was like, okay, I have something for you. When could you start? I'm like, I could start now. He was like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I could start now. He was like, okay, you have a job.
Moore found more than a job. She found a school family where kindness is spoken and children are demonstrating their principal's creed that demography does not determine destination. The future of quality charter schools may hinge on the improvement of authorizers and laws, the sharing of meaningful quality data, the public demand for excellence. Think about it. We have but 12 years to excite, engage, and prepare young people for their adult lives. If nothing else, charter schools are compelling us to find the means to do this brilliantly.
Right now, so much of the debate is kind of controlled by a narrow group of folks who are trying to protect the interests that they have, rather than saying, what's the very best thing we can do to improve the lives of kids in our community and make sure that every kid has an opportunity to attend an excellent school?
We have such a great privilege and an honor and a huge responsibility that's in front of us, that this is a job that should not be taken lightly.
Education has, and I think always will be, the gateway to a better life. And that's why we have to take it that seriously. That's why we have to be so committed to that, because it's their future. And if it's their future, it's our country's future.
We have got to work until every kid has an opportunity for an excellent education, and we can never, ever be satisfied until that's the case.
Outside the Box is made possible through the support of the Eli Lilly and Company Foundation, dedicated to improving health and strengthening communities.